Welcome back to Financial News You Can Use. My name's Neal Whittington. You just heard from Mr. Wayne Isaksen. I have a very, very special guest in the studio with us today. Wayne made some awesome points about home staging, and we have with us here Miss Jessica Pirone from Just Perfect Home Staging. Jessica, thank you for joining us today in the studio. And I'd like to jump right into it. Just give us a little bit of background of why and how you started Just Perfect, and what intrigued you about the industry.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you guys for having me here today.
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure, and love sharing the benefits of staging with everyone, because with all the TV shows and people use it more of it, it's still such a valuable service that everyone should really be using. I got started when I was really just recently out of college. I had studied marketing and fine arts, and had done some retail merchandising, and it was recommended to me that I look into staging. At the time, I really didn't know what it was. So I did a lot of research and ended up speaking with a company, a professional company down in Charleston, and actually ended up doing some training with them. And then found it to be a valuable service that I wanted to kind of get into and provide. After researching different markets, I found Wilmington a great place to move to. My sister went to school here at UNCW and loved it here. And, after researching this market, I found that there were a few stagers here, but they were very hard to find.
Right.
And after realizing what staging was, and I guess I'd always known about it, but didn't realize the term for it.
Absolutely.
And realizing the value it provided sellers and how much it really affected people and how much it really helped, I felt like it was a service that should be easily accessible and available to anybody who was trying to sell their home, and it should be at the fingertips of sellers and agents. So I moved here with that goal. 23, moving to Wilmington, not knowing anyone but my sister, was a challenge, but just set out to brand Just Perfect and make it so that we were a company that people knew about and could find, and we could help them move on to the next chapter of their life.
Right, and you've really done a good job of that, so congratulations.
Thank you.
On that. Jessica, Wayne brought up some really good points on home staging, but just take us through a little bit. When you first walk into a home, what are some of the first things you're looking for?
There's kind of two aspects of that. First of all, we look for the features of the home, the unique aspects of the home that we really want to stand out, that should be attracting buyers. But really what usually stands out first is the other stuff that gets in the way of seeing those things. Sure. If it's an occupied home, there's a lot of clutter. You have your everyday life there. And so those are the first things we notice, and things that we look at, because we want to try to clear that out of the way so you can see the features we want to highlight. So we also look at things that might be seen as negatives to buyers. Okay. Bold colors, damaged flooring, things like that. Basically, we're looking at anything that we can do, any recommendations that we can make to help the house more marketable. Okay. So it appeals to more buyers and sells as quickly as possible. Okay. So getting right probably to what's on a lot of people's minds, does it cost a fortune to have you or some other company come in and stage their home? It's the question we always get, right? Does it cost anything? Everyone wants it to be free, and if you look at it, in some ways it kind of is. I mean, it's an expense, but I don't really think it's a cost. So you're not throwing money away when you say just an investment. Sure. And so it's something that you're almost always going to make 100% return on at least. Right. Sometimes it doesn't make sense because it's 500, or the amount of return you make on staging is huge. So it depends on what you think a fortune is. It's not free. It is an investment.
But it's not $50 either, right?
Yeah, and it's not $50. I mean, you may spend thousands of dollars on staging sometimes, but you're going to make $20, $50, $100,000 back on it. Right. So it's all relative, I guess, and what you consider a fortune. I think if you think that's a fortune, it's a fortune worth spending, because you're going to make an even bigger fortune.
Right, absolutely. So how about like furniture and furnishings? Do you mainly use existing, what's in the house, or do you bring in all new purchased items or rented items, or how does that work?
It depends on the property. If
Okay.
it's an occupied home, we try to use their existing furnishings
Okay.
as much as possible. If we often will tell them to depersonalize, so that means taking down personal photos and decor that is suited to their personal tastes
Okay.
and may not appeal to everybody. So we do bring in accessories and things like that in occupied homes so that we can add back to what we're having them take down. A lot of us decorate
Right.
with the personal stuff. So we warm it back up with accessories and enhance the space, but we try to use their base furniture as much as possible. If it's a vacant home, though, we do have inventory and we fully furnish it.
Okay. Okay. So how about this is probably something pretty basic, but how important is painting in the process?
Painting is a huge importance.
Yeah.
It's one of the least expensive things you can do and has a huge impact. Bold colors are very taste specific.
Mm-hmm.
If you have darker colors, they can make rooms look smaller. Wallpaper, we always recommend taking down and painting. So painting plays a huge role in preparing your house for sale.
Sure, sure. So, how about clutter? What do you do when a home, is really cluttered? There's maybe too much furniture, too much just stuff around.
We tell you to take it out.
Okay.
It's not always easy to live in a staged home because you're taking out the clutter, you're taking
Right.
out the stuff that you're used to being there every day, and even furniture. You have enough furniture for your convenience, but to show off your house and make it look larger or as large as it is, then taking some of those things out are important. And we always recommend doing off-site storage
Okay.
with that. That way, a lot of people ask, well, can we store it in the garage?
Sure.
And yeah, you can, but the garage is a feature of the house too.
Absolutely.
And so you want people to see that it's usable, it's functional.
That a car can actually fit in there.
Exactly. And the other thing with that too is that if you fill the garage up with stuff, then there's these silent signals that you don't realize you're giving off, because if your garage is full, or it can make people question if there's enough space in the house for all your stuff.
Right. And Americans love stuff.
We love stuff.
Well, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back after you hear a few words from our sponsors with Miss Jessica Pirone from Just Perfect Home Staging.